Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new bowling ball announcement. The 900 Global Origin EX, a solid Origin, is coming very soon. This ball was just announced about 40 minutes before this recording. We'll probably be one of the first people on YouTube to have this up. Make sure to subscribe so you can be the first one to know about any and all bowling ball news, especially with deep dives on what this ball is actually going to be. So let's dig right into what this Origin EX is. It's a little bit interesting. It's not the solid that you really would expect out of an Origin. So originally, if you thought of the Origin, it was a hybrid ball, super strong, shiny ball. Everyone kind of expected we'll see a solid one coming sooner rather than later. The regular had a lot of success. Here we are a couple months later with the Origin EX, a solid version. However, everyone thought it was going to be like harsh reality solid level strength. That is not what it is, though. This is actually a pretty weak, solid bowling ball. So let's dig a little bit into what this bowling ball is. Let's go through some of the marketing mumbo jumbo and then get into the meat, get into what the core and cover are, and go from there. So Origin EX is next chapter in the Origin series, built to conquer high friction lanes with smooth control. This is the wonky part. I read this and was very surprised. So this is going to be a weaker bowling ball. Their goal is for this thing to be weak. This cover stock is not just the solid version of what is on the original Origin. This is a new cover stock, just modified down, not downgrade, but a weaker package. So it's going to be really interesting there. A little bit more, they talk about the AI core, of course. Brand new solid cover stock tested by our top in-house athletes. I did see a few pros already posting that they threw this ball at Storm HQ. Result is one of our cleanest covers yet, engineered to clear the fronts and deliver a smooth, predictable back end motion. So they want a cover stock that gets through the front part of the lane but isn't super angular down lane. They're kind of talking about like the R2S solid cover stock. I'm going to say that because there's a connection I want to make here in just a little bit. Now, while the color combo may turn heads, it's not for looks. At the end of the day, I don't know about you guys. I'm sorry, Storm. I really don't like this colorway. Orange, red, and plum. The orange just looks super weird. It kind of looks like a gem if you just dulled the colors a lot, which is, yeah, I mean, there's prettier bowling balls out there. The original Origin is one of the best looking balls on the market, and then you go to this, and it's an odd change of pace in the colorway. But let's get into it. Let us get right into it. We did have there is a mess up, by the way, in the first paragraph. It says paired with the new RB98 solid. They meant RB89, by the way. So 89 is the cover stock strength. That means it's a little bit weaker. But let's get into what it actually is. So we have like I said, Reserve Blend 89 cover stock. This is weaker than what was on the original Origin. On the original Origin, we had RB93. Now, if you guys remember, we had a video go live about 900 Global's cover stock strength, and RB93 was about middle of the road. So this is weaker than that. This is going to be one of 900 Global's weakest cover stocks that they have today. Still reserve blend, but it's going to be much weaker than what other stuff they have on the market. Very interesting. Core is same as usual, 248 RG, makes it hook really early, 050 differential, a good amount of flare, but not crazy amounts. Int diff of 020, that means a lot more flare. So this is a strong core at the end of the day. We knew that. We knew this core is very strong. There's a little bit about the core itself. RB89, new material designed specifically for high friction surfaces, gives bowlers a smooth, stable motion, facing beat up lane panels, or just need something smoother in your arsenal. And then we're going to focus on these stats while we talk about what this bowling ball is going to be. So this is a weak cover asymmetrical bowling ball. Imagine the XL and the absolute power. That's what this ball is really going to be similar to. I think it's going to be very close to that absolute power. The cover is going to be a little bit stronger, and the core of the Origin wants to hook a little bit more than the OG Absolute. So it should just be more overall hook than the Absolute Power, but expect something kind of similar. This is going to be a weaker, strong and smooth bowling ball, probably one of the weaker asymmetrical balls on the market today. I could see it low-key being like the special effect from Hammer. I could see there being a few similarities between the two. The cores are close-ish in strength, and the cover stocks seem like they're going to be kind of close. I feel like the special effect cover is going to be overall stronger than this RB89, but I feel like they could be pretty close when put at the same lane and put at the same surface. That is something I want to check quick. It's going to be coming at 2000 grit, so it's coming dull. That's kind of interesting. I didn't know if they'd shine it or actually keep it dull. They're keeping it as a dull solid, but for high friction lane surfaces. And you can notice that from some of these stats. Flare potential is kind of on the medium high side. This core hooks way more than Storm says it does. We noticed that with the original Origin. So this one could be iffy. Ball shape closer to angular. Hook length medium to late, kind of interesting as a solid ball. This is a little shocking. Oil volume is on the medium to light side. That is crazy. That is wild. Medium to short pattern length and then used on the transition. That's very, very surprising. Let's go down to the OG Origin and see where this was. Looks like they've changed up their art style a little bit. Flare potential is on the what? Flare potential is on the max side. It's the same core. That is bonkers. Okay. So apparently the flare potential for the OG is through the roof. But for the EX, it's a massive step down, even though the cores are identical. Very, very odd. Ball shape is close to angular. We see they're pretty similar. Hook length, we have mid late to late. This is on the EX. On the original Origin, it's a massive area. Oil volume, though, they want the Origin on medium to heavy. The EX they want on medium to light. So very, very interesting. The differences are crazy. They're trying to tell us that this ball is going to be radically different than the OG. I'll be very curious to see how that goes. I did notice I've seen a handful of clips on the EX, and it looks like this ball hooks pretty late, but is also very smooth. So I think they're hitting what they're trying to go for. I'm really seeing absolute power at the end of the day, is what I'm noticing from this Origin EX. So very, very interesting. Let's grab the RotoGrip XL, see if that has anything on here. Let's go to Storm quick. Doing this on the fly. So this one has a 250 RG, a little bit higher RG on the XL, way higher differential, so a lot more flare out of the XL, and then the int diff is nearly identical. They do have this flare potential on this guy, so that's kind of interesting. Let's actually scroll down a little bit. Let's go down here. They are very, very different then. Let's actually be smart, computer people. No, not you, Bowler Smart. I actually wanted this guy. All right, here we go. So what we're noticing here, my face is a little bit in the way, apologies. Flare potential is massive on the XL. This low flare potential is weird. Ball shape, they have the XL is very smooth. They have the Origin EX is a lot more angular. Hook length is a lot later for the EX. Oil volume, they want the XL on super heavy. Now this is a little bit off. The XL is a very weak bowling ball for being an asymmetrical piece, which is I think Storm really thought it was going to be a lot stronger than it is, but it is much weaker. And then the EX is just, yeah, that middle of the road shape. So let's try the same thing with the phase 2. Phase 2, and we have Storm, because I think this is going to be the main comparison, is how is it compared to a phase 2. Flare potential is identical. The phase 2 they want you to use earlier. Hook length, the phase 2 hooks earlier. Oil volume, they want the phase 2 on more volume. Pattern length, a little more. Lane condition, fresh for phase 2. Okay, so they want the EX to be a step down from the phase 2. So that is a spot that isn't filled right now by any solid bowling ball. The Summit Ascent is about the only one. Let's look up the Summit Ascent. Oh, that didn't work. That would have been too easy. Storm, Summit Ascent. Check it out. We have flare potential as higher, ball shape as middle of the road. Hook length is in the same exact spot as the Origin EX. They want the Summit Ascent on more oil, though. This is very odd. I don't know how accurate Storm or how much time Storm puts into this, but they're saying that the Summit Ascent should be used before the Origin EX. So very, very odd. This ball is going to be a big question mark on what it's actually going to be, because the stats are saying one thing, but the core and cover say another. So Storm stats on it show that it should hook really late, be that transition piece between a fresh ball and or from a solid ball to a pearl ball. However, the core and cover make it seem like it's just an earlier hooking asymmetrical that doesn't hook as early as like the Harsh Reality or the Ion Max or something like that. So very, very odd. This one has a lot of question marks behind it, in my opinion. Let's look at Bowler Smart, because the price of this guy is $200, 199.95. So it's just like every other Storm, Roto, and 900 Global asymmetrical bowling ball. $200. That's pretty much expected. One of the most expensive bowling balls on the market. Very, very much expected to be the same price as the Origin. Now, on here it says the expected release date is May 16th on Bowler's Mart. However, on the Storm website it says May 9th. So there are some issues there. I'm assuming Storm is correct. They have been wrong on this in the past, but I'm going to assume Storm's May 9th, 25 is correct. Let me know down below in the comments if that is correct or not, if you have more insider info. Otherwise, when this ball gets closer to release, we should have an actual date that might be correct. So it's either May 9th or May 16th. So either in 2 weeks or 3 weeks from today. But with that, we are going to call that a video. The Origin EX coming very soon. A weaker asymmetrical bowling ball. If you like your absolute power and you want something like it, this Origin EX is going to be the play. If you wanted the XL to be that transition piece between solid and pearls, if you like a physics blackout but want a weaker package, this could be a really good option for you. This is not going to be a hook monster, though. This is not going to be the first ball out of your bag a lot of the time. That's going to be saved for the Ion Max and the RST Hyperdrive yet, which is good. We're not going to have 3 big ASIMs in the same exact spot in the bag. This one should be like an absolute power, maybe closer to medium smooth territory when it all comes, when it all is said and done. We'll have more on that in the next couple of weeks, though. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed talking about the Origin EX. Let me know down below in the comments, are you thinking of picking up this bowling ball? Do you want something in this category? It's very unique. Otherwise, do you not want something in this category? Otherwise, that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much. I will see you on the next one.